Good evening and welcome to GETI's Live Talk, hashtag Disruptive Education. I'm your host, Zaina Malai. Global Education and Training Institute is one of the most premium training institutes of the country, and we provide two type of training. One, pre-service training, and another, in-service training. We also have this platform where we have hosted more than 1,000 talks and still we are counting more. This platform is solely a platform to provide opportunity to the educators, edupreneurs, education leaders, and innovators from around the world to come to their platform and discuss their ideas and provide their knowledge and thoughts to the community. So we are driven by the vision of our founder director, Dr. Sunita Gandhi, and we are working towards this mission of disrupting education. So we are very pleased to have with us Mr. Pushpendra Kumar Rana. He holds a master's in economics, master's in education, postgraduate diploma in school leadership and management. He is an International Education Awardee as Best Teacher of the Year 2020, International EduX Icon Awardee as Best Master Trainer 2021, Dr. Abdul Kalam International Awardee of Excellence 2021, CBSE Coordinator. He is like presently his designation is he is the CBSE Coordinator of Birla Balika Vidyapeeth, Plani, Rajasthan, and he is also an economics expert and he teaches economics as well. He is having a composite experience of 25 years as an innovative educator and trainer. He is associated as master trainer with CBSE, Reliance Foundation, Birla Education Trust, the Klein Foundation, One Mark Solution, IDYM Foundation, the Kautilya Foundation of Education and Training. He is also associated with NCRT as subject matter expert. He has published a research paper on the topic A Critical Analysis of the Nature of Agriculture Debt taken by small and marginal farmers. So, without taking your much time, I would like Mr. Pushpendra Kumar Rana to take over the session and tell us about the use of remote e-learning tools. A very warm welcome to you, sir, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zainab. Good evening, friends. So, today we are going to talk about how we have got a paradigm shift in this pandemic period. The COVID 19 pandemic has disrupted education in over 150 countries and affected 1.6 billion students. In response, many countries implemented some form of remote learning. I remember the day April 2020, and that time we got that the lockdown will be applied from tomorrow, and all the students went home. Immediately, our teachers in Birla Education Trust they shifted to online learning. The education response during the early phase of COVID 19 focused on implementing remote learning modalities as an emergency response. The teachers were not trained. These were intended to reach all students but were not always successful. As the pandemic has evolved, so too have education responses. Schools are now partially or fully open in many jurisdictions. And friends, we can say that the teachers all around the world are the real warriors of Corona. As a result, education has changed dramatically with the distinctive rise of e learning, whereby teaching is undertaken remotely and on digital platforms like Zoom, uh, MS Team, and many other platforms. Research suggests that online learning has been shown to increase retention of information and take less time, meaning the changes coronavirus have caused might be here to stay in future also. Now let's analyze this new paradigm shift in education. Availability of technology is a necessary but not sufficient condition for effective remote learning. EdTech has been key to keep learning despite the school lockdown, opening new opportunities for delivering education at a scale. However, the impact of technology on education remains a challenge. Still, there is Role for teachers, and teachers are more critical than ever now. Regardless of the learning modality and availability technology, teachers are playing a very critical role now. Regular and effective pre-service and ongoing teacher professional development is key support to develop digital and pedagogical tools to teach effectively both in remote and in-person settings. The different educational boards are conducting frequent trainings for that. Education is an intense human interaction endeavor now. For remote learning to be successful, it needs to allow for meaningful two-way interaction between students and their teachers. Such interactions can be enabled by using the most appropriate technology for the local context. For example, augmented reality, virtual reality, Kahoot quizzes platform, Mindmaster, OLabs, etc. And now, in this pandemic period, parents are the key partners of the teachers in this online learning. Parents' involvement has to play an equalizing roles, mitigating some of the limitations of remote learning. We have seen that the students are distracted many times while the teachers are taking the class. The students are busy on social media platforms. So friends, here the roles of parents also become critical as countries transition to a more consistently blended learning model now. It is necessary to prioritize strategies that provide guidance to parents and equip them with the tools required to help them support students. Now friends, let's discuss about some strengths and weaknesses of these e-learning tools or online learning. So there are many reasons why online programs have become a popular form of distance learning in education today. Whether it is school education, this is higher education, professional education, wherever we go. The online environment offers unprecedented opportunities for people who would otherwise have limited access to education, as well as a new paradigm for educators in which dynamic courses of the highest quality can be developed now. Here is a list of some of the major benefits of online programs that I am going to discuss. We can access the education anywhere through the e-learning tools. The main advantage is that it allows students to participate in high quality learning situations when distance and schedule make on ground learning difficult to impossible. Students can participate in classes from anywhere in the world. I am sitting here in India, Rajasthan, and if I am a student, I can participate in the University of Australia learnings, provided they have a computer and internet connection. So these are the two main requirements now. In addition, the online format allows physically challenged students and teachers also more freedom to participate in class. Those who were not able to go to school earlier due to their physical handicap, they now can get learnings at their home. Participants access the virtual classroom through their computers or mobile phones instead of having to go to class physically. One more thing, we can access education anytime at any pace. When in physical classroom, the students have to cope up with the pace of the teacher, or teacher has to cope up with the pace of students, the collectivity there. But here is individuality. The virtual classroom is accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Time efficiency is another strength brought by the online learning tools. Students can access their courses at any time of day or night. Further, they have continuous access to lectures, course materials, class discussions, even class games. This is particularly convenient for those who may need to reread a lecture, a topic, or take more time to reflect on some material before moving on. Even the sports teacher are taking their classes online, and the students are enjoying. The online format allows a dynamic interaction between the instructor and students and among the students themselves. Resources and ideas are shared, and continuous synergy will be generated through the learning process. Each individual can contribute to the course discussions and comments on the work of others now. The synergy that exists in the student centered virtual classroom is one of the most unique and vital traits that the online learning format possesses. One more thing is there, in online learning we are having high quality dialogue within an online asynchronous discussion structure. The learner may reflect on comments from others before responding or moving on to the next item. This structure allows students time to articulate responses with much more depth and forethought than in a traditional face to face discussion situation where the participant must analyze the comment of another on the spot and formulate a response or otherwise lose the chance to contribute to the discussion. But it is not here in online learning. This is student centered also, learner centered. Within an online discussion, the individual student respond to the course material and to comments from other students. Students usually respond to those topics within the broader conversation that most clearly speak to their individual concern. These situations result in smaller conversations taking place simultaneously within the groups. While students should read all of their classmates' contribution, they actively engage in only those parts of the dialogue most relevant to their own interest. So this is more learner centered now, and we are having a level playing field there. In the online environment, learners have a certain measure of anonymity. Discriminating factors such as age, dress, physical appearance, disability, race, and gender are largely absent now. Instead, the focus of attention is clearly on the content of the discussion and the individual's ability to respond and contribute thoughtfully and intelligently to the material at hand. Now we are having more access to resources like Diksha platform is there, Swim platform is there in India, Coursera is there. The students can have access on that. On NCRT, we are having several platforms. So it is easy to include distinguished guest experts also or students from other institutions in online class. Furthermore, today's students have access to resources and materials that may be physically located anywhere in the world. An instructor can compile a resource section online with links to scholarly articles, institutions, and other materials relevant to the course topic for students. And now the teaching have become more creative. The literature of education support the use of interactive learning environments as contributing to self-direction and critical thinking. Some educators have made great strides in applying these concepts to their on ground teaching. However, many classes still exist which are based on lectures and rote memorization of material. But over time, it will be cope up. The nature of the semi-autonomous and self-directed world of the virtual classrooms makes innovative and creative approaches to instructions even more important. In the online environment, the facilitator and student collaborate to create a dynamic learning experience. The realization of a shift in technology creates the hope that those who move into the new technology will also leave behind bad habits as they adopt this new paradigm of teaching. Now let's discuss about some weaknesses or limitations of these remote e-learning tools. So while online programs have significant strengths and offer unprecedented accessibility to quality education, there are weaknesses inherent in the use of this medium that can pose potential threats to the success of any online program. So let's discuss these problems. They may be relating to technology, accessibility. So first is equity and accessibility to technology. So before any online programs can hope to succeed, it must have students who are able to success the online learning environment. Friends, we know in India there are many remote villages where there is no internet facilities now. There are many poor people, the country where almost one third population is living below the poverty line and not having any smartphone. They are not having the access. So this lack of access, whether it be for economic or logistic reasons, will exclude otherwise eligible students from the course. This is a significant issue in rural and lower socioeconomic neighborhoods. Furthermore, speaking from an administrative point of view, if students cannot afford the technology the institution employs, they are lost as customers. As far as internet accessibility is concerned, it is not universal, and in some areas of India and other countries, internet access poses a significant cost to the user. Some users pay a fixed monthly rate for their internet connection, while others are charged for the time they spend online. If the participants' time online is limited by the amount of internet access they can afford, then instruction and participation in the online programs will not be equitable for all students in the course. So it has created a trench between have and have nots. Here, friends, there is need of computer literacy, whether these are students or facilitators. Both must possess a minimum level of computer knowledge in order to function successfully in any online environment. For example, they must be able to use a variety of search engines like Google, Yahoo, etc., and be comfortable navigating on the World Wide Web, as well as be familiar with news groups, FTP procedures, and email. If they do not possess these technology tools, they will not succeed in an online program. A student or faculty member who cannot function on the system will drag the entire program down. There are several limitations of technology, friends. User friendly and reliable technology is critical to a successful online program. However, even the most sophisticated technology is not 100% reliable. Unfortunately, it is not a question of if the equipment used in an online program will fail, but when everything is running smoothly. Technology is intended to be low profile and is used as a tool in the learning process. However, breakdowns can occur at any point along the system. For example, the server which hosts the programs could crash and cut all participants off from the class. It happens several times. My dear friends, the teachers, you must have observed that. A participant may access the class through a networked computer which could go down. So these are the several failures of technology. While an online method of education can be a highly effective alternative medium of education for the mature, self-disciplined student, it is an inappropriate learning environment for more dependent learners. I'll tell you an example here. One day I was taking the class and I got a call from a parent. And that day an exam of some other subject of some other class was going on. So that parent calls, sir, now exam is going on and my daughter that is busy on Facebook. So you should counsel her. So such problems have been faced during this time. Online asynchronous education gives students control over their learning experience and allows for flexibility of study schedules for non-traditional students. However, this places a greater responsibility on the student. In order to successfully participate in an online program, students must be well organized, self-motivated, self-disciplined, and possess a high degree of time management skills in order to keep up with the pace of the course. For these reasons, online education is not appropriate for younger students, mainly elementary or secondary school age, and other students who are dependent learners and have difficulty assuming responsibilities required by the online paradigm. So friends, for this, the students who are not self-organized, who are not self-disciplined, in such case, in online learning, they distracted from their learning and they search here and there in other social media platform, and in that their education is adversely affected. In case of facilitators or educators, there is lack of essential online qualities. Successful on-ground instruction does not always translate to successful online instructions. I may be good in ground instruction in class, physical class, but in online instruction may not be. If facilitators are not properly trained in online delivery and methodologies, the success of the online program will be compromised. Now here I will thank my trust, Birla Education Trust, that before lockdown for 3 years they have trained the teachers in these remote e-learning tools, and before the lockdown many of our teachers had become the master trainer in remote e-learning tools. So this is the most requirement, that facilitator must be trained. An instructor must be able to communicate well in writing and in the language in which the course is offered. An online program will be weakened if its facilitators are not adequately prepared to function in the virtual classroom. So, virtual classroom where all students feel comfortable participating, and especially where students know that their instructor is accessible, is good. Failure to do this can alienate the class both from each other and from the instructor. However, even if a virtual teacher is competent enough to create a comfortable virtual environment in which the class can operate, still the lack of physical presence at an institution can be a limitation for an online program. For example, when I am in the classroom, so that time, uh, if 30 students are sitting there, so I can identify from the face expression of my students whether they have understood or not. But when I am taking online class, that time it is not possible. So these are some limitations of online programs. Some subjects are there which can't be taught online. For example, public speaking, sports, where physical movement and practice contribute, so they can't be taught online. And in the end, today this is a very exciting time for technology and education. Online programs offer technology based instructional environment that expand learning opportunities and can provide top quality education through a variety of formats and modalities, with the special need of learners who need or want to continue their education. Online programs offer a convenient solution to conflicts with work, family, and study schedules. Educational institutions have found that online programs are essential in providing access to education for the population they wish to serve. In order for an online program to be successful, the curriculum, the facilitator, the technology, and the student must be carefully considered and balanced in order to take full advantage of the strengths of this format, and at the same time avoid pitfalls. Avoid pitfalls that could result from its weaknesses. Friends, the online tools, they are both boon and curse. It is in our hand how we use that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pushpendra sir, for giving such an interesting session and telling us about various uses and how these new apps will have helped students during the course of pandemic time, and how teachers have like taken up this new use of new e-remote use of techniques and tools, e-tools for learning so easily. Like they adapted it, they welcomed it, and they learned so very quickly. And you have already told about the benefits. And yes, there are, like, everything comes with a with both the sides. There are advantages and there are disadvantages for e-learning, as you said, for the children who are in remote areas and they cannot use. So one question I have for you, as you are a CBSE trainer and you give training, so like, as the teachers around the world, I would say, have adapted and they started using these e-learning apps and tools to teach their children, do you think like training them for these things is a necessity, or they better learn by doing?
Ma'am, there is both. First, training is the necessity, yes, It is the necessity because in most part of the world, the educators they were not trained in these e-learning tools. So this was a surprise for them. But I salute to the educators that immediately when the lockdown was declared throughout the world, they took their weapons. I have seen the teacher who is one mobile phone was hanging with some uh, rope, and then she was teaching on the board, some chemistry teacher. So they were doing, but definitely there is requirement of training like in breakout use of breakout rooms, use of quizzes, interactive sessions, and along with that, yes, they will learn by doing also. So both are there, man.
So like because training is needed, you are saying that training is needed to give them the correct way to use it, because they will learn by trial and error if they are not trained, and if they are trained they'll like definitely stop wasting their time and they'll use the exact thing. Sir, a very interesting thing, we all of us observed that we as a teacher we were struggling at times to use these apps and techniques, and children were the helping hand to the teachers. They used to tell their teacher, "Ma'am, do this and do that, and you'll be able to correct yourself and do it." So it was a very nice feeling to get that from your students. And so, did you experience anything of this kind?
Yes, ma'am, exactly. The during this time exactly the students were trainer many time.
Hmm.
For example, in economics there is a paper Indian economic development.
Yeah.
So last year I gave my students an assignment that they have to convert a lesson in sketch. So they will make caricatures. So some students they made caricatures, along with caricatures they make their dialogues, and some students suggested, sir, why not we convert them in e-cartoons using animation. And that time the students teach me to use how to make the animations. So definitely this have happened all around the world. The students, because they are of Z generation, and we are of A generation now, or B generation, or C or D. So they have born with technology, and we have learnt technology. So that has happened.
Yes, sir. So, would you like to say anything else, sir?
I would say, ma'am, that when we are using technology, and students also, technology can't replace teachers. But if teachers they will not update themselves with these technology, the use of these tools, they will out of the picture in future. The relevance of teachers will be always there, but they have to update themselves always. They have to move with time, as they moved. Yes, they moved during this lockdown. They proved that they can. So this is what I want to say.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yeah, a very good piece of advice that teachers, we as a like we can be teachers and we can be instructors and trainers, but at the end of the day, we all should be learners, and this learning help us to
Exactly.
stay updated and help our students to learn in a better and a nicer manner. And as we all know that like presently and in like incoming future, the role of the teacher is mostly of a facilitator who facilitate the students to learn by themselves and do things by themselves. They are just facilitating and they are helping children to enhance their knowledge and increase the level of their learning, and learning that sticks and that is applicable. So, with this, we
Exactly.
come to an end of our session. I would like to thank you, Pushpendra Kumar Rana ji, for giving such an amazing session and hope to see you again. Uh, Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zainab and Geti. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Have a lovely evening ahead. Bye bye.
Bye bye.